Gail and welcome back to Gail's Low Carb Recipe Ideas. Today we're going to do a real simple recipe. We're going to make a low carb asparagus soup. Asparagus will be coming up out of the ground pretty soon and we got to be prepared. And this is a really simple recipe and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of butter into our pot. And we're going to get that melted. I have it on sort of a medium heat. Then the next thing we're going to do is I have an onion about this size. Just kind of give you an idea of what the size was. It's 87 grams of chopped onion. So I'm going to put my onion in here. I want to saute them up a little bit before I add the other stuff. That'll take a couple of minutes to get them transparent. So I've sauteed the onions and now I have my chicken broth, and this is the Kirkland brand that I use. I get that at Costco. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the whole thing, but right now I'm just going to put in, let's say, a quarter of it, because I want to put my asparagus in. Now my asparagus has all been chopped into smaller pieces so it won't take so long to cook. So I'm going to put it all in here, and that's a pound of asparagus, which is approximately 154 grams. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook this up till the asparagus is totally tender, soft, and then we will puree it so we don't have any lumps in our asparagus soup. So I'm just going to leave this and let this cook. You can put the lid on if you'd like, and then we'll be all set. I almost forgot one important thing. The seasoning I put in is my favorite Herbamare. You can use salt and pepper if you'd like, but Herbamare just has great flavor. I'm going to put in a half a tablespoon of Herbamare in here. I'll give it a little bit of stir. I'll put the lid back on and we will get this cooking so our asparagus is completely cooked. And the nice thing is you can always add more to taste of the Herbamare to make this a perfect tasting soup. So now I've got my little Ninja professional food processor, and I'm going to scoop in my asparagus into this mixer. Now, one thing you have to be very careful with is it is super hot. So when you're releasing it to dump it out, you do not want to do it too quickly because you will end up splatting it all over the place because of the pressure. So we're just going to put the lid on here. I'll slide it over. And then I'm just going to press down and make noise, so I'm not going to keep it running for very long. Okay, so you can see here I've got it all nice and smooth in here. I want you to be very careful when you're opening this. In fact, the container's a little warm as well, so I'm just going to put on one of my little gloves, and then I've got to be very slow, and you're going to hear the pressure. There we go. If you go slow, you're okay. If you do it fast, you're in trouble. So we're going to pour it back in. I actually took the other asparagus out of my big pot and put it in another container so that I could use my pot again, because I want to put it back in the oven, on the stove. So I'll just set that over there, and then, oh, that pot's hot. We're going to add more in here. Just remember, it's hot, so you have to be very careful at when you're working with it, because you don't want it to splat all over the place when you're taking the lid off after you puree everything. Okay, let's put the lid back on here, and I'll puree the rest of this. I always have trouble putting the lid on straight on this thing. There we go. We'll bring this back here, upside down, and we'll turn it on again. There we go. Beautiful. Bring this back over. And again, I have to go slow. See, you hear that little gasp of air that comes with it's the pressure taking it off. It's the only thing I warn you about. You could wait and have this all cooled off, but I wanted to get it done and get our soup going here. Looks delicious. Okay. So I like the density, the thickness of my soup. I'm not going to add any more chicken broth. Normally I do, but this time around it seemed to work out fine. So this was a very simple recipe. It was 2 tablespoons of butter, 87 grams of chopped onion, 1 pound or approximately 454 grams of asparagus, and I used about 1.5 cups of the chicken broth. So that was 378 grams approximately. But look at the consistency. It's lovely. I didn't add any cream, which many recipes you could and you can if you want some more fat content. But this is perfect and very, very simple. I just want you to be very careful when you're using the mixer, when you're pureeing it, because I did it when it was hot. Anyhow, let's give it a taste and see what it's like. Okay, here is my low-carb asparagus soup. Now, when I kind of rambled on saying what was in the recipe, I forgot one really important part was the herbamare. I put in 1/2 tablespoon. To me, it's perfect. You might find it maybe a little too salty. If you want to put less in and then taste it and then add more, you're very welcome to. But it actually makes this soup so good. It's delicious. And look at that thickness. I didn't have to do it. There was hardly anything to do with this recipe. It's so simple. Very good. Now, if you would like to go to lowcarbrecipe.ideas.com, you can check out this recipe and check out some of my others. You take care, and I'll see you soon.